Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. As you can see, we're joined by an absolute legend in today's YouTube video, Mr. Kobe Savage. Thank you so much for joining us, an anchor of the Kansas State defense, one of the heart and souls of the team this year, and it is awesome to see him back out there. Kobe, thank you so much for joining this morning.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you for having me.
Anytime, man. Well, I talked about it a little bit with you beforehand. I'm really curious to see how much the end of what happened at 2022 motivated you to get back on the field this year. Obviously, missing the Big 12 championship game, Sugar Bowl, that's not an easy task, but how have you shaped that to motivate you into 2023?
Yeah, really just missing the feeling of being out there on the field with the guys is what motivated me a lot. And just to be able to recap and redo what we did last year and have another successful season this year and get to another great bowl game and another conference championship. So those are all motivating factors in my recovery. I feel like it pushed me a lot more to be able to get my leg back stronger to what it used to be.
Did you miss many games growing up, or is this kind of the first major setback you had?
Yeah, this was the first major one. I remember like when I was in freshman in high school, I missed maybe like a couple of games over an ankle, but nothing crazy like this to where I'm missing the end of my season. So yeah, this is my biggest injury.
That's definitely an adjustment. And sometimes you hear from different guys, and obviously with it being your first big injury, it's kind of a different process for each player. But sometimes guys will try to really lock in on the mental side of things when they're sidelined, whether that be jumping in on game film or even like meditation or something to try to sharpen your mind for when you are physically ready to get back. Did you experiment with anything like that, trying to get, mentally ready to get back for this season?
Oh yeah, definitely. I feel like I indulged in a lot more film study, just seeing the little things that I could work on in my game and just what I could get away from opponents. And then, like you said, doing like a lot of meditation and like visualization, just visualize myself back on the field, feeling well, like feeling really good with both my knees, regardless of the surgery. So yeah, I feel like I did a lot of meditating. And coach and our strength staff does a really good job helping us throughout the season with that meditation.
Well, that's awesome to hear, man. I'm interested to hear. There's a story written about you from D. Scott Fritchen, and he mentioned in there that right after the injury happened, I think it was the Baylor game, if I'm not mistaken, coming back on the team flight, that Chris Klieman came down, head coach sat down with you and said, you know what, you're a great football player. You're going to continue to be a great football player, and we're going to use you a ton going forward once you're back to full strength. What was that moment like for you? I know that in the story it said you kind of almost felt like you let the coaching staff down or whatever the case is, but what was that like for you? Because I mean, I can tell you didn't let us down, man. Like, we know how much that passion is for K-State, and watching you play has just been, it's been incredible. But what was that moment like for you getting to sit down with your coach and hear those reaffirming words?
It was really good, and he actually let me sit in first class with all the other coaches whenever I got hurt, and allowed me to sit in the aisle. And he just, like leaned over and telling me those words meant the world because, I mean, I've never missed any games, like I said earlier, so I felt like I was letting everyone down for that. But him just reaffirming me that I'm good and everything will be okay just made me feel like a whole lot better throughout this process. So, I mean, he's a great coach, and I've always bought into whatever he says. So, really hearing those words meant a lot to me.
Definitely a player's coach, man. That's the type of guy you want to go to war for, especially from the outside looking in. But if I'm not mistaken, did you play quarterback growing up? Is that right?
Yeah, I played quarterback my whole life until my senior year of high school was the last time or the first time I ever played DB.
That's insane, man. The fact that, I mean, you're a dog, first of all. To make that jump, that's incredible. But I'm curious, was there anything from being a quarterback that you took away? Obviously, the athleticism, if you're a mobile guy. What was that? What big takeaways did you have from the quarterback position that flipped over, if there were any, into the safety position?
I feel like just being able to like see the defense, being able to know like what type of defense maybe they're in or something like that. I just being able to see pre-snap keys that I would at quarterback. So then I took that over to safety, seeing pre-snap alignments at receiver, tight end, maybe running back to give me a little tell. And Coach Klieman does a great job of that throughout each week, giving us little key tells. So I feel like just being able to see a lot pre-snap and anticipating when I'm going to get post-snap.
That's awesome, man. I heard that and I was like, I got to ask about that for sure. But jumping into some stuff from this year, we talked about injuries and stuff, how last season ended. Let's talk about this year. So you guys are currently sitting 3-1, headed into a game with Oklahoma State. And I'm not just going to ask the quick and simple, what are you guys looking forward to this weekend? I'm going to try to bring it back a little bit. You guys on the depth chart have flipped some things up since the UCF game, and there's been kind of the creation of this jack safety position. And if I'm not mistaken, you flipped from either free or strong over to jack safety. Is the difference between jack safety and the other safety position just more of an alignment thing, or is it something that's a different responsibility in the game?
Yeah, definitely alignment wise, because we're field and boundary based. So like the strong safety always stays to the boundary, and the jack is always going to be lined up in the middle. But it's like Yeah, I feel like it's more of like a you're kind of like an extra linebacker, and you're also
Mm.
like a post safety. Like you're a hybrid of everything. You can play man, you can blitz. It's a lot of different things, and but I'm really excited about it because I get to go sideline to sideline instead of just saying on the boundary side. So I'm really looking forward to it this week, just being able to roam around and have fun.
Guys, taking a quick break from the interview with Kobe, I want to tell you a second and show you about this baller shirt that you probably see me wearing in the interview. This shirt is actually from a buddy of mine, Kansas State Sports Highlights. You can find him on Instagram. He's got his own merch store where he's selling this shirt, which is the Manhattan Gunslinger shirt. I'll show it off here in a sec. Let me move out of the way. I mean, it's incredible. That's what you want. It's got Will Howard. It's inspired by the Clint Eastwood movie Fistful of Fury. It's beautiful. Some might even say that Will Howard is the Clint Eastwood of college football. There is a lot of great things going on his merch store. You got to check it out. He's got Will Howard shirts. He's got the Bill Snyder stuff, Tex Winter stuff. It's all comfort colors, so they're beautiful. They're awesome to wear. They feel great. You look great. I absolutely love it. Go ahead and check my dog out, as well as use the link in the description for 10% off. It's Go Cats. It should be linked in the description, as well as the website. You can check it out there at astrasportsapparel.com. Go ahead and check it out. If you want to be like me, if you want to rock some awesome merch, this is the place to go. Well, man, speaking just from watching the games, that's your spot, man. I mean, you are a sideline to sideline ball hawk guy. You're going to come up and support in the run game and, take someone's head off when you can. So that's always exciting to see you flying around the field. But let me ask you this. So last season, the secondary had some guys that have been there for a while. You obviously had Echo Boydo, Julius Brents, Josh Hayes obviously transferred in, but still was a veteran presence in that locker room. Nobody in the world would sit here and say that Kobe Savage isn't a vocal leader. But I'm curious, have you had to make a conscious effort to try to become more of a leader for the younger guys like Parrish and Will Lee on that squad?
I feel like it's just getting to know them at first. Like, I mean, obviously they're like you said, they're new younger guys. Just getting that relationship built in and showing them like just showing them an example every day of hard work, and then after that, like I feel like the vocalization just comes along with it. Like you're allowed to say whatever you want whenever if you're working hard and you're showing them that there's a standard that we play football at. So I feel like that vocalization just is like a second nature. Like even Austin Moore, like he not even like just a loudest guy, but he whenever he says something, people listen because he's an example of hard work and determination and perseverance. So yeah, I do feel like it wasn't too much like of a stress for me to be that vocal guy, but definitely helped through my hard work.
Yeah. Well, for sure, man. I mean, you can see that from the outside, and it feels like a pretty tight knit group for sure in the secondary. I'm also curious. You guys have been dominant against the run game. I'm not sure if I have the exact numbers right, but I saw something about sixth in the country against the run, and then first in the Big 12 against the run. Is that something that you guys have made a conscious effort to stop this season, or is it more of a hey, we've got dogs on every level of the defense here?
Yeah, I do feel like it's been a conscious thing. I don't think anybody just killed us last year in the run. Maybe a few games they might have got explosive plays, but yeah, I feel like Coach Klieman does a good job of like enforcing the mob mentality and just having that mind on ball. Like always, like 11 guys I had on the ball because after a while, that running back or quarterback, whoever's running that ball, eventually cough it up and get tired of it. So having all those guys around swarming it, it just shows it's like kind of like demeaning to our offense to see all
Mm-hmm.
those guys running to the ball. So that's our
That's
mentality.
awesome. That's awesome, man. I mean, especially like you guys have played some really good running backs. Kamani Vidal from Troy. Obviously, Johnny Richardson seemingly runs a 4.240. It looked like in the UCF game. That dude's explosive. That's an impressive stat. I mean, you guys are killing it this season. Now, I'm curious. There's been a lot of changes in the Big 12 conference this year. And obviously, you saw it last year before some of the realignment had been set in stone. You guys have already taken on one of the new four schools in UCF. Did that game feel any different? Were there any different takeaways from having one of the new four schools in versus like last year playing an Iowa State or an Oklahoma State type team?
Uh, they're definitely like a good Power Five school. They definitely proved themselves to be that.
Yeah.
They got a lot of speed, as you saw with the running back, quarterback, wide receivers. I feel like they're going to be a great addition to this conference. They're a really solid team, even without having their starting quarterback. So it wasn't nothing too different. It was a solid team all around. Big guys, big D linemen, big linebackers, big safety. So it was really great competition for us to play. That was a really good game for us to start conference with.
Definitely. I mean, I mean, sneaky is kind of a lame thing to label somebody, but they're a good team. Like, I think
Mhm.
that the narrative kind of was shaped to say, well, Houston, UCF, BYU, Cincinnati, it'll take some time to get going. That team was ready. I mean, the
Yeah.
move to the Big 12, they had multiple four-star guys commit shortly after. But
Yeah.
also touching on that topic, the other side of the coin is OU Texas leaving. Currently, they're up there with you guys at the top of the league. What is the reaction, not just to them leaving the Big 12, but I know you're a Texas boy, so there's always an extra element of, hey, I'm going to go out there and ball in front of people I know. What is that energy going to be like when you guys take on Texas, or in the event that you see Oklahoma in the championship? Is there an extra chip on the shoulder of the current Big 12 teams as these teams depart?
I feel like there probably is, but this is like my second year in, so I don't got nothing
Mhm.
towards them. I just want to go hard just because it's Texas, and I grew up a big fan whenever I was younger. I was raised that way, so yeah, like I'm really excited to play those schools. Hopefully, like you said, we get to play OU in the Big 12 championship and just get to be 2-0 against them since my career being here. But yeah, I'm just really excited to play against those bigger atmosphere schools, I'd say.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to preface this and say this is not set up to bury anybody. This is not, you can totally push this question away and not comment on it. But first of all, I want to commend your dad because he is like one of the best Twitter follows. That dude seems to be such a passionate and caring father. And I think that that's just incredible to see that guy go to work. But there was a big story in the Mizzou game that happened after the game where wide receiver Luther Burden kind of came up talking trash as you guys were leaving the field. And
Mhm.
one thing I saw out of not only you, but the rest of the guys, you guys were all kept your head up. You were all respectful to not chirp back or say anything like that. Is there anything in that moment, like what was going through your mind? Because I think if you took 99 of 100 college football players, they're not, maybe not mature isn't the right word, but just like you guys had the peace of mind to let that be and not touch that whole situation. Was that something, talk me through that mindset for that?
Really, I mean, whenever between the white lines, I feel like anything goes. I mean, I always want to keep it clean, obviously, and we're
Mhm.
gonna talk, we're gonna say this and that, like when the game's going. And I mean, if you're not talking during the game and then you talk after the game like crazy, it's like yeah, you're not talking about nothing for real. But
Mhm.
yeah, like you said, after the game, I'm not gonna like I'm not gonna do all that extra with that because I mean I got coaches, I got a family that I represent with my name across my back, so I'm not gonna do all that chirping after the game. It's gonna be a good game. Like UCF after we played them, good game. After we played Okie State, good game, and that was a blowout. So I mean it's always gonna be a good game afterwards. But between the white lines, yeah, we can talk, say whatever. But yeah, it's just really a respect thing. But I understand what it is with them, and I pray we get to see them again. I
Mhm.
really hope we do, just so we can get that lick back. But not like you said, I don't buy into it. If they talking after the game, it ain't nothing.
Yeah, well, I respect you answering that, and then also, like, there are not a ton of dudes like that, that is a really impressive mindset to see, and obviously that's your dad had a great comment in there that said, "Hey, this is my son. This is how he was raised. He was raised to be respectful of everybody. When it's all said and done, he's gonna go out there and handle his business." And that was just, like, the nicest, coolest thing I've seen, so I wanted to commend you and your dad for that both. Now jump into some more fun stuff here. There was a recent storyline, I don't know if you saw it yet. Will Howard talked about his first interaction with Coach Gundy, and he basically said, "Hey, my first interaction, he thought I was Skyler because he had gotten hurt and came up to him post game and said, sorry we missed you. We want to play you in the future." Have you had any conversations with Mike Gundy or anything on that front? Have you had anything that stands out in your mind?
No, but I actually one of my closest friends from junior college. We left the same time, and he plays at Okie State.
Mm.
And I remember we were playing them at home last year, and I seen him kind of standing next to Mike Gundy, and I just looked over, and the score was pretty bad, and I was just messing with him, and I started laughing, and they both looked at me, and kind of got mad about it, and it was like I think it's like a third down stop we had, but that's the only interaction I'd say I'd actually like had fit like visually.
That's awesome. He seems, I mean, I've never met the dude, but he just seems like such an interesting dude.
Yeah.
But I will talk on this. We talked about trash talk, obviously with the Luther Burden stuff. Switching that up a little bit, going to some of the guys on the team have kind of pointed to you and Austin Moore and said, these are our biggest trash talkers. These are the dudes that are talking their stuff. One, is that true? And two, is there anyone else you'd throw into that category in terms of trash talkers on the field?
Yeah, that's definitely true. And yeah, and the thing about Austin, he's not even a big talker. He says it so sternly that everybody will hear it. So it's not you can't even tell if he's talking or not just because his hand won't move or nothing. But yeah, another person I throw into there probably Marquise Siegel. Like he's a
Mm.
slick trash talker. You just won't see him look at nobody and tell him. But yeah, probably Marquise.
That's awesome, man. I think I wanted to talk to you about this. You have the greatest name, the greatest last name for a DB of all time. I mean, a headhunting DB. What is it like to have that name? I mean, Savage is just the perfect. Like, all right, dude, that's Savage. Why are we not circling that guy in every game plan?
Yeah, I mean it's always been cool, especially growing up like in this small town. A lot of people knew my family, so they would just call us savages. even in high school, everybody called me with my last name, my coaches and stuff like that. So yeah, really just living up to that mentality. Like, I mean, if I got that on the back of my jersey, I have to go hard every play, every snap. So really just embracing my family name and playing for them.
That's awesome, man. And then I'm curious. So there was a pretty viral moment with you from last year's Texas Tech game where after, I mean, you guys are beating the brakes off Tech at that time, and you guys have a pass breakup on, I think it was third down, it could be second down. As you're walking back, you blow a kiss to the cheerleaders. Let me ask, did any of the cheerleaders ever hit you back? Did you ever get a DM that popped up or something said, "Hey, what's up? I'm, XYZ person." Did you ever hear any conversation on that front?
No, I remember on Twitter, one of the girls had liked the post or whatever about it, but I didn't like buy too much into it. I really was just blowing a kiss just in the area,
Mm,
just to bother them because it's a little visitor section, and I
yep.
guess some of them had blushed about it, but yeah, that was funny. I
Hey,
remember that.
we'll get them next time. If not, we'll get them next time.
Yeah.
Well, I'm curious. There's been actually a pretty big debate about this, and you guys have kind of revamped the hand signal. So the mob sign. There's been a lot of questions if it's interlocked pinkies or no pinkies locked. What is your
Hmm.
stance on this? If you answer this now, this is the right answer forever.
Okay,
No
yeah, because I
pressure.
did see this. I did see this on Twitter. So when I first got here, I
Mm,
seen Deuce Green. So I don't know if y'all want to argue with Deuce Green about this,
right. No, not
but
at
I
all.
seen Deuce Green interlock his pinky. So I was like, oh, okay, like that's it. But then I went back and was watching like some old highlights just of the
Mhm.
mob, and they didn't. So I feel like it's I don't know. I have to ask Austin Moore. We got to get Austin Moore in here, and we'll have like a me and him will have to
All
talk it
right.
out, right?
Well, I'll tell you this: when maybe not even not even if when you make a big play this weekend and we see the mob signal go up, just know I'm going to be watching for it. And then if I see the
Yeah, yeah,
pinkies locked, if I don't see them locked, that's what
yeah,
the answer is. We're going with
yeah.
that.
Exactly. That
Uh,
would be good. Yeah.
okay, good. I'll take 6% of the credit for that moment if that's enough percentage.
Yeah.
I am curious. So this is one that I felt like I had to ask for just a lot of fans that are wondering. There's a couple of pictures of you with Michael Boganowski, freshman, or excuse me, high school player from Junction City. I don't know if you hosted him on his visit, but there was a couple of different pictures. Do you ever have any conversation with him or anybody on the defense kind of touching base of like, not necessarily guiding him to Kansas State, but if you had any conversations with him about, what his future could look like here?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Him and his dad and my dad got pretty close over Twitter, and we're
Mm,
just talking ball and stuff. And I was talking to his dad because he's actually coached by our linebackers coach, Coach Steve Standard. So yeah, I was just telling him a little bit about our defense, how we run stuff, and showing him all the guys that we got here, like how some of them were walk on, some of them were overlooked,
mm,
and how he's not even an overlooked guy. He could just come in and have a lot of success here, and by also earning a spot instead of just being handed one. Like this is definitely a process built program. So yeah, just touching base with them, like you said, just letting them know, like, yeah, you can have a great future. You can have a great future anywhere, but really
mhm.
like, close to home, you can see your brothers and stuff like that. So just let them know the little things. Not trying to like convince them, but just
Yeah.
like a guy to a guy, like a friend to a friend.
That's the good way to be. I think you see that a lot of times with recruiting where people not even go overkill on it, but they'll be like, "Hey, man, look what we have to offer you. Look what this
Yeah.
is." It's got to be pretty refreshing as a recruit, just seeing the honesty of the coaching staff and then also the players. That's got to be a great thing. But I am curious, and this is something that I want to give a shout out to a buddy of mine, Landon Reinert from KSNT in Topeka. He recently compared DJ Giddens. DJ in the media has had a big week. Obviously, you rush for two bills, you're going to have a lot of conversation. He basically compared him to the football version of Kawhi Leonard, and I wanted to ask your opinion on that comparison, how you feel about it.
No, that's 100% spot on. Like just a dog who never talks or makes a smile or anything. Like, but DJ's a really cool dude. Like if you can get him to talk, he's a really like down to earth dude. But yeah, he is like crazy strong. I watched him power clean 315 and then just drop it with a straight face. Like it was nothing.
Jeez.
He's a dog for real. Everybody in the locker room will tell you, but he's definitely like the Kawhi Leonard of football.
That's awesome. Well, I'm gonna wait for the laughing clip when we see DJ get the little splash of the. But the last thing I want to bounce off of you, and this is more of a comment, I guess, on my end. There was a game, last game against Texas. Obviously, you're playing that game. Didn't work out the way we wanted to. There was a play in that game where Xavier Worthy, I think it was a deep post, I could be wrong, and you had a pass breakup. And I just wanted to bounce this off because it was one of the coolest calls I've ever heard on the broadcast. I don't know if you saw the clip or not, but the dude calling the game goes, Xavier Worthy, and not to bury him, it doesn't matter who that is. He goes, that's Kobe Savage. It doesn't matter who it is. He's going to throw his face in the fan. And I've just since then, that's been the coolest moniker in my mind of, hey, that's Kobe Savage. It doesn't matter who you throw at him, that's Kobe Savage. I just wanted to bounce that off because I thought that was absolutely electric.
Yeah, I like that. That's
Mm.
pretty cool. I never heard that before. I like that.
Yeah, I saw it this past week. I was looking through some stuff and came up with it. So, dude, that's killer. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate you joining, taking the time. It's always awesome to talk to you. And good luck this weekend. Good luck the rest of the season, man. You ever have time to touch base again? I'd love to chat in the future as well.
Oh yeah, appreciate you for having me.
Dude, anytime. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.